It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Marina Fox. She's a CSU student, Chico State University student that's involved with Path Scholars for Foster Kids. It's a brand new program that's on campus at Chico State University, and Marina's going to introduce herself real quick and give us a framework of what that program's all about.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Just a correction. So I'm not a student. I was a student last academic year. I just graduated with my MSW.
Awesome.
Let's see, that was May. Feels like an eternity ago already. But I was hired here at Chico State in January of 2014 because Chico State was involved in a partnership grant with Shasta College and Butte College. And the grant comes from the Walter S. Johnson Foundation, and they've given us money to start up a program at each of the colleges to really support foster care alumni in reaching their academic goals. And so we're really excited to be part of this, even though the grant, I believe it began in 2012. There was an implementation grant, and then Chico State and Shasta and Butte College got the final grant in 2013. And so it took some time, as it always happens, to hire someone. I was hired in January of 2014 and really just jumped in and started the launch of the program. And I would say it really got started, mid-semester during that spring 2014 semester, and started meeting with students. And I'm a big believer in student voice and getting their input about what the program should look like and what kinds of services they need to really support them and their success here at Chico State. And so I was meeting with students, building those relationships with the campus partners, different departments, housing, financial aid, and all of those departments. And really just kicked off, and we've really expanded, and we're really thriving and growing at this point. And, this is our second full academic year of having a program. So it's pretty exciting.
It is. I mean, it's so cool. I mean, I thought it was so new. I thought it was brand new. I've been telling people it's like 2 or 3 weeks old because I just saw your Facebook page. Is your Facebook page fairly new, or that's
the Facebook page has been around maybe, I would say, less than a year.
Wow.
Close to a year.
Well, anyway, it's so nice to make this connection, and I guess a year's new. It's
yes, absolutely
new to me.
Yeah.
Now, maybe for listeners that aren't as aware of some of the challenges for foster youth in an academic environment, maybe you could kind of explain that and how many youth that you're helping and what kind of services you provide.
In an academic setting, students really struggle with some of those basic independent living skills, some emotional stressors that, I would say a traditional student has a parent to rely on to kind of process through some of those emotions of, being homesick or feeling overwhelmed or scared. It's a whole new transition for these students. And, especially foster youth that have transitioned out of the system at age 18, they don't have that support. They have very little to no family support or, positive adult role models in their lives. Many times they have, an independent living program case manager or a county social worker or maybe a teacher or a counselor that they really connected with. But for the most part, they don't have that stable adult in their life. And so they're really left with kind of muddling through the whole process of applying to college and transitioning over. Once they're here, they feel, like they're just, what's the saying, a fish out of water. They really struggle. And so this program has been designed to, give them one contact person. So if they meet that eligibility of being a former foster youth, they can connect with me and get involved in this program. And it's a lot of case management, really helping them through the process, helping them to problem solve, look for different resources on campus that they might need. This really has been proven to increase access to college, retention, and graduation rate for this population. So again, just an amazing program to be a part of and to support these groups of students. They will drop out if they've made it to college. Many times they drop out. The statistics are quite alarming. It's about 3 to 5% of former foster youth who graduate with a 4-year degree by the age of 26, as compared to, I believe it's about 24% of the general population.
Wow.
So very small portion will graduate with a 4-year degree. Now, those are national statistics. What I've heard, I don't have any references for this, but I was talking to a student who did his own research. He was actually a BSW, Bachelor's Social Work level, and he did some research and found that in California, I believe that it was 0.1% graduate with a 4-year degree, which actually sounds about right and comparable to Chico State. Right now, we're only able to work with students who self-identify as a former foster youth. So those are the only students we're reaching. I'm sure there are more, but oftentimes students won't disclose that.
Right.
And so at this point in this semester, we're about close to 200 students that have self-identified. And so it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I did some work with the BCOE, Butte County Ed School Ties program. And the data is 2 years old. I need to follow back with Megan, the program manager over there. But anyway, back in 2013, it was 950 youth that experienced homeless throughout the year, and then there was 450 kids in Butte County schools that were in foster care. It's just a tremendous amount of youth that are at risk, in risk.
Yeah.
That are in our school systems that I've really been trying to make a push to make people aware of them. Of what the issues are. Now, you'd mentioned, Marina, when you started out this program, you reached out to housing and different areas of social work. What is the issues? I mean, do you actually have youth that are, in situations where they're couch surfing, they need a place to stay? Are you helping them find housing or,
Absolutely.
Wow.
It hasn't happened in abundance, thankfully. It's a little uncommon, but we have had instances where, for example, this past summer, I had a student she was a first-time freshman. She had just completed her freshman year here at Chico State. During the summer, she had to take a math class, and so she was taking it through Butte College. After a year of being away from home, I'm doing air quotes, she, I think, started to realize really how unhealthy and unstable her home environment was. Mm-hmm. And so she didn't want to go back into that space. She applied for a job with housing here on campus. So she got the job. So they covered her wages. She was able to earn wages, but they also included room and board as her compensation package.
Oh,
so
awesome.
She was able to stay on campus, because normally the dorms on campus are closed, but because they do other summer conferences and things like that, she was able to get a job with them. She was working. She was earning money. She was able to attend her summer class, and then she had a place to stay. Otherwise, she probably would have had to have couch surfed and tried to stay around at different places and, cost for different living situations. So, again, I think that it does happen, but everyone here at Chico State has been incredibly supportive and really wants to accommodate and be flexible and really try to, figure out a situation so that these students can be stable and have that ability to focus on academics.
Right, without having to worry about, where they're going to lay their head at night and whether it's going to be a safe space,
Absolutely.
And where their next meal is coming from. It's awful hard because I hear that situation an awful lot, just in different little subsettings in regards to youth or even older folks that are making good decisions of, basically I'll go sleep anywhere but go back into this abusive relationship or abusive home. It's really a scary situation, and it's just wonderful that they have the opportunity to have the resources that you and your team have put together, Marina.
Absolutely.
When I say team, I mean how many folks actually work or volunteer in this program? 200 students is a pretty large program.
It's a good amount of students, yes, and I'm the only professional staff in this program, and I'm really doing all of it, developing the program, meeting with students, meeting with campus partners, meeting with community partners, doing outreach. I'm kind of going a little crazy. but these students, really inspire me, and they keep me motivated, and so I keep going. I was able to hire, because as I mentioned, we are grant funded and we do have some money available right now. I was able to hire 2 of the past scholar students. I hired them during the summer, and they were working full-time during the summer and helped me with a lot of programming, and we actually just put out our first newsletter, things like that, helping me with the welcome reception that we had a couple of weeks ago. The students have been amazing with giving me that support and relief, and even sort of giving support to other students and really taking a leadership role with their peers.
I'm amazed. It's Marina and team, and it's mostly you, which is amazing. I'm really excited actually to kind of help promote the PASS program and get involved with this runaway prevention and homeless youth awareness program in November. And thank you for reaching out and say you would sponsor that process that we're putting together. And I look forward to working with you on that. There's another gentleman, I'm calling him the Box City guy. There's this thing that's been done in several other communities and colleges where they put together boxes that youth, at-risk, in-risk youth, physically, put their stories and some of the stereotypes on, and people can come by and see it as kind of like a demonstration, kind of like an art piece. He's actually a student, I believe, and he's in some of the student clubs there. But I'm hoping to connect up with him as we get closer to finalizing this stuff.
Yeah, it was quite timely that you had presented this opportunity, because I have had a couple of students who have been really wanting to do something. One of the students recently mentioned there's a week in November that's like National Adoption Week or something like that, National Adoption Awareness. And so one of the things I wanted to also mention with past scholars, different universities have different levels of their Guardian Scholars programs for former foster youth. Every program has different eligibility criteria. For past scholars, we're actually working with any student who spent even one day in the foster care system. And so when they apply to Chico State, if they were a current or former foster youth, if they were in guardianship, if they were placed with a relative, youth that were at one time in foster care or guardianship and then were adopted, all of those situations would qualify for past scholars. We also actually serve homeless and accompanied youth, because my feeling was that a lot of these students could be in the foster care system, but for whatever reason they chose not to. What I experienced was that a lot of the students, perhaps were abandoned or just separated from the parents, mostly from the parents' choice, and they, were left at 16 or 17. Why bother going into the foster care system? They were staying with a friend or a neighbor, friend's parents, something like that. And so those students, they've been really increasing in my awareness, I think, because we've been spreading the word that we serve all of those student groups. More students are coming forward and saying, hey, that was me, And so we're getting a real great variety of kind of diverse students in this program.
It's wonderful you can do that level of outreach, because I work with foster agencies here, like Mountain Circle Family Services, and she'd actually made Tony Zimmer, the coordinator there, and she kind of made that comment in one of the interviews I did. She really feels it's worse for folks that aren't in foster care because their opportunities for grant money and assistance is less.
Exactly.
It really is. It really is a kind of a snafu in the process. So anything you'd want us to kind of end on here, Marina? Something we haven't discussed, or maybe a soapbox for 30 seconds about your program? Or
Well, I think that kind of the final outcome that we're really looking for is increasing the graduation rates of this population. And even in the short time that I've been here, and I don't know if it really has anything to do with me or the program, but it is very exciting that last year, which was our first full academic year, we had one student graduate from our program. And then this spring, we're actually up to like 8 or 9 students that are graduating.
Awesome.
Which is, it's just astonishing and in such a good way, and we're really excited. So, we hope to get some county and state and community support. As I mentioned, we are grant funded, but we will be having to do some fundraising here pretty soon. And so I hope that people will continue to support our program.
Thanks so much for calling in, and can't wait to get this out. We're going to air this on Thursday.
Excellent.
Yeah, on our Without a Roof monthly program. So
great.
Thanks again, and have the best of days, and enjoy your evening off. Don't work too hard.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Take care, Marina.